In the wild and ever-chaotic world of pop culture, where fame and controversy often go hand in hand, Azealia Banks has long positioned herself as a firestarter, someone who doesn't just walk into rooms but kicks the door down, unfiltered and unapologetic. Known for her razor-sharp wit, scathing commentary, and a history of viral rants, Banks isn't one to hold back when it comes to speaking her mind about the industry, its players, or its scandals. So when she took to social media to sound off on Kanye West, arguably one of the most polarizing figures in music history, it wasn't exactly a shock to her followers. But even for Azealia, someone who thrives in controversy, the gravity of Kanye's recent actions made her question whether he'd ever find his way back into the mainstream. In a world where public image is everything, and where even a single misstep can spiral into a full-blown career-ending scandal, Kanye's string of offensive anti-Semitic tweets has had a ripple effect that's difficult to ignore. And Azealia wasn't mincing words when she aired her thoughts online. Nobody can realistically collab with Kanye after all that Nazis *T in this economy, honey, she declared in a tweet that was as much a social commentary as it was a searing indictment. She was responding to a fellow X, formerly Twitter user who suggested Banks might not be collaborating with Ye anytime soon. Her response, dripping with sarcasm and disdain, left little room for ambiguity. To her, it wasn't just about artistic differences or personality clashes. It was about a fundamental crossing of the line, something so deeply offensive and irredeemable that no one in their right mind, she argued, would want to be associated with him again. But as if that statement alone wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, Banks followed up with an even more brutal dig, targeting another figure she's clashed with in the past. "Only Fat Dave Blunts is eligible for blacklisting because he's already f***ing immobile," she wrote, launching into one of her signature NSFW tirades. "High-key, I know Dave Blunt's fat *** probably in there hoovering Kanye DCK like them cheeseburgers." The imagery was grotesque, the language as offensive as it was flamboyant, but this is Azealia Banks. She doesn't believe in censoring herself, and while her choice of words often sparks backlash, she has carved out a space for herself precisely because she refuses to play by the rules. But it wasn't just Kanye's tweets that had Banks in a frenzy. Her commentary reached new heights, or depths depending on your perspective, when she began speculating on rumors and past relationships that, if true, would send shockwaves through the entertainment industry. Referring to Kanye's alleged revelation about having a sexual encounter with his cousin during childhood, Banks veered off into a bizarre and disturbing series of allegations. "Kanye and Virgil were lovers," she wrote, referencing the late fashion designer Virgil Abloh, who had been one of Ye's closest collaborators and a key figure at Louis Vuitton. The insinuation was deeply controversial, made all the more so by the fact that Virgil is no longer alive to defend himself. And she didn't stop there. "Elon def got some head from Kanye off that ketamine," she continued, dragging billionaire Elon Musk into the mix with a claim that felt more like a fever dream than a genuine accusation. "Kanye is on one of them Diddy tapes," she added cryptically, possibly alluding to the infamous, rumored sex tapes that have swirled around Sean Diddy Combs for years. As if that wasn't incendiary enough, Banks went on to list a roll call of A-list rappers and celebrities, painting a surreal picture of Kanye being rejected by everyone from Jay-Z to Drake. Jay-Z was like no homo. Trump was like no homo. Travis was like no homo. Drake was like no thank you. Amber hit him with the strap. Kim thought she could, but vomited on his back and started crying. Chris yelled cut. In one explosive paragraph, Azealia Banks managed to throw nearly half of Hollywood under the bus. Whether it was performance art, personal vendetta, or just another day in the digital life of Azealia, the internet couldn't look away. These were the kinds of statements that blurred the line between satire and slander, between provocation and genuine concern. But Azelia's obsession with cultural commentary didn't stop at Kanye. Just days earlier, she had weighed in on a completely different topic, one involving Lil Nas X, another controversial figure known for breaking boundaries and pushing buttons. The rapper and singer had shocked fans when he revealed that half of his face had become paralyzed. The news sent waves of concern across the internet, with many suspecting that he might be suffering from Bell's palsy, a medical condition that causes sudden weakness in the facial muscles. For most, it was a moment of empathy. For Azealia, it was a teachable moment, though not in the way one might expect. "Y'all better stop sniffing them drugs," she quipped in response to a post about Lil Nas X's condition. Just like that, she turned what could have been a sympathetic reaction into a warning, wrapped in judgment and suspicion. Was it fair? Was it grounded in any medical reality? No. But that's not the point. For Banks, the internet is her stage, and every headline is an opportunity to perform, provoke, and disrupt. To understand the shockwaves Azalea's words send across social media, it's important to understand the persona she's carefully, or perhaps chaotically, crafted over the years. Azealia Banks has never simply existed as a musician. Her legacy isn't rooted solely in her discography, but rather in her ability to command digital spaces through her unfiltered commentary and relentless attacks on anyone she deems a threat, a fraud, or simply worthy of being dragged. She doesn't hesitate. There is no pause between thought and tweet. And in this immediacy, she has weaponized language in ways that very few artists ever have. Her comments about Kanye were particularly jarring because for a time Banks actually held some respect for Ye. They were both seen as visionaries, albeit troubled ones, who often felt misunderstood by the mainstream. Kanye's legacy, prior to his recent unraveling, was cemented in stone. The man who pushed boundaries, redefined hip-hop, and influenced a generation. But that legacy has begun to crumble. And for Azealia, who has always been both an insider and an outsider in the world of fame, Ye's downfall feels personal. It's not just disappointment, it's a brutal dissection of a fallen idol. To her, Kanye's recent behavior wasn't just offensive, it was pathetic. There's a difference between being controversial and being reckless, and she seemed to believe that Kanye had long crossed that line. His spiral, both public and painful, had become a cautionary tale. And in a strange, almost poetic twist, Azalea's takedown of Ye wasn't just gossip. It felt like a eulogy for the artist he once was, buried under layers of delusion, conspiracy theories, and the crumbling walls of an ego too big to fit through any door, even in Hollywood. But Azealia doesn't mourn in silence. Her eulogies come with punches, profanity, and predictions. She's not just lamenting the past, she's actively burning bridges that were already falling apart. In her mind, Kanye has torched every connection he had left. No artist in their right mind would risk their own reputation to work with him again. The brand deals are gone. The industry respect? Vaporized. And as Azealia sees it, the only thing left for Ye is a slow, sad crawl through the remnants of a once glorious empire, scavenging for whatever scraps of attention he can still find. But there's another layer to all this, one that few people want to talk about. The way Azealia uses her platform to highlight the industry's deep hypocrisy. Yes, she's abrasive. Yes, she's vulgar. But hidden within her chaotic commentary are truths that make people uncomfortable. When she calls out figures like Kanye, she's not just throwing shade for clout. She's shining a harsh, unrelenting light on how fame protects predators, how power shields madness, and how the industry loves to forget its own scandals until someone screams loud enough to be heard. And no one screams louder than Azealia Banks.